Rooney? Wayne? Wayne is playing in Poland. Football Manager? What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 5 of Park to Prem, here with Boston United. I nearly said Town or Town there for a second. There's been a few comments saying, Jack, how many times have you done the intro wrong? How many times have you not said Boston United and have you said Town or Town? I've only done it once so far. It will be more than that by the end of this series, I'm sure, but I'm slowly but surely erasing over that. I was going to say muscle memory. It's not really muscle memory, unless, I mean, your tongue is a muscle. My word, I don't know. Is it muscle memory? Probably not. Yeah, we're with Boston United. Of course we are. It's the end of the season today, everyone. We have one last game. It's against Gloucester. And, well, once we've played that, we're going to talk all about the future because there's lots of players coming in. We talked about those just last episode. There's going to be a very, very busy summer going on because basically all but a handful of players in our first 11 just aren't having their contracts renewed for this year. So, in terms of games since you were last here is how things have gone. And I left things with a slim hope of playoffs. It went very quickly, I'm afraid to say. Of course, we drew against York 1-1, which was not a bad result last episode. They were top of the league. And, well, following on from that, we got a win against Leamington to start things off. We were by far and away the better team in this match. In fact, they didn't have a shot on target. Our goal came courtesy of Rollins. He was assisted by York. 1-0 it finished. Not really a classic. The next game we had was against Alfreton, a team who are right down at the bottom of the table, a team who I think at the time were still desperate for wins. So when we took the lead in the 84th minute, I was feeling pretty smug. They'd been the better team. We smashed and grabbed it. It was going to be perfectly fine. Except it wasn't, because they scored 2. A bit of a collapse here. Their first goal was scored by Bright Amoateng. What a lovely name that is. Their second goal scored by Rob Apter with a sensational through ball setting up the second goal for them. It was absolutely insane. It carved our entire defence open, and I struggled to be mad after it, to be honest. 2-1 it finished. With that, any hope of the playoffs was gone. In our most recent game we took on Hereford, it finished 0-0. What does that mean for the league table? It means this. We currently sit 13th. Of course, the board expectation to start this year was mid-table. They are pleased with that. Unfortunately, they're less pleased with my management of the wage structure and also apparently an inability to play attacking football. I think that's because we sit deep, because we do play on the attack, but of course we do sit a little bit deeper. Maybe I need to start pressing higher. I think once we start getting in our own personnel, this shape might change a little bit. I feel like over the summer, we will adapt because this formation, this shape, this whole system was kind of devised out the players that we had at the time. But anyway, in terms of what's on the line against Gloucester, you might think there's not a great deal on the line. Wrong. I want a top half finish. I want to finish 11th. If we beat Gloucester, we have a chance. Southport and Hereford need one of those two teams to slip up, but we have to win. So let's get the win, shall we? If we don't win here, there is a risk that we end up finishing as low as 15th, which would take a massive goal swing, but at the same time, I just don't want to risk it happening. We should be winning this one quite convincingly, I hope. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. And well, we're going to get into it. As I said, later on this episode, we're going to take a look through the Football League, but for now, it's one last chance for some of these players to prove their worth. I'm looking at Hawkridge, I'm looking at Hobson McVeigh, Mohammed, Duxbury, no, you're fine actually. Brockbank, you're in on loan. Tootle, Matty Boy. You've got really to prove your worth here. £700 a week is mad though. I feel like he could score a hat-trick. It's probably not going to convince me to keep him on. Similar story with Fitzsimmons in goal. I mean, he's not got sent off since I took over, which I suppose is a silver lining. He's not been a very good keeper this year. I'm going to be honest. He's just not been very good, everyone. But maybe if he saves a penalty, maybe I extend his contract. And, well, let's submit the team for this game. The final game of the season. We're taking on Gloucester. This is one that we should win. This is one that we should just navigate through, no problemo. And, well, is this at home? It's not. I was about to say, if it's at home, we get to say goodbye to the car park. I say that. Our stadium is going to be renovated over the summer. We're still going to have one end that's a car park. I'm not sure which car park they're demolishing, but there will be a new stand in its place for us at home next year. So, yeah, I guess you could argue the first leg of Car Park to Prem will be done over the summer, regardless of the results on the pitch. which is kind of nice. Anyway, let's try and end on a high. The last couple of results have been pretty disappointing. Let's get a win here. Hawkridge, you don't have a contract. Are you going to get one? No, you're not. That was absolutely awful. Plant didn't even move. He just stood like a plant in the breeze. Oh, God. Imagine if we had a goalkeeper called Plant. The amount of puns I'd come up with, it'd be awful. I could come up with... I don't know. I was about to do a pun. Don't do it, Jack. Bite your tongue. Mensah. Huge tackle, Duxbury. Give me something to talk about on the pitch, Duxbury. Distract me from the puns. I'm still thinking about doing it. No, Jack, leave it. Leave it, Jack. It's not worth it. Oh, dear. I feel like, my puns, they just stem from just my terrible sense of humour. Right, stop it, Jack. Stop! Plants. It's too easy, isn't it? Right. If they score now, it's completely deserved. Gibbons, get it away. Hawkridge, on your bike. I say that. Lots of players in front of him for him to cycle away through. Decides he's better off just lumping it. I'm somewhat disagreeing with that decision as Gibbons wins another header. Gibbons at the back has looked superb, the 20-year-old. Of course, we've already got a whole host of defenders coming in during the off-season. I feel like Gibbons, though, he's earned a spot in the team. I say that. He's completely out of position. Dallas bearing down on goal. Can the keeper save it? No, Dallas has absolutely pulled his pants down there. He cartwheels away in celebration. That finish was ridiculous. What was that little dink? He couldn't have put the dink better into the top corner as well. The keeper comes out, you think Fitzsimmons is going to get there. No, mugged off. Ball just about drops in. They're 1-0 up. I sound far too happy about them being 1-0 up, but when you get scored on like that, you can't help but smile a little bit. Especially because our keeper isn't going to be here next year. I can laugh at him and his ineptitude. I mean, looking at the stats, it's actually been a very even game. But to be honest, a pattern of the first kind of 20 or so games here at the club has been, we'll play quite well in games. We'll have a better XG in games, but we don't win them. I'm hoping that with, slightly more clinical forwards, maybe a change in system over the summer, we're going to put that to, rest going into the new year. I do think I feel like I want to play a 2-striker system next year, but we've not really had the strikers to do that this year. So that's definitely an area that I want to look at. I feel like, to be fair, Burrow's done well up front. He's dug us, Burrow, out of some sticky situations. But I think he needs a mate, and I don't think Preston's the mate, to be honest. Preston's not the man to do it. Burrow just sometimes isolated. I mean, they're coming forward again. Tootle, lovely tackle there. With York now. Now with Preston. Speaking of the devil, Brockbank dinks it wide and straight to Whittle, who's going to dink it back. There's lots of dinking going on here. Fitzsimmons says less of that. Picks it up. I mean, half an hour left. I'm thinking about making some subs, but let's see this play out. Burrow is through. Burrow hits the woodwork. It's a disaster. Not a bad effort, but it was not dissimilar to the goal that their striker scored, was it? It's hard not to compare the two finishes there. Right, Hawkridge, you've been awful. Boo him off the pitch, fans. All the away fans, please boo him like you booed me and laughed at me. He's been awful for us, Hawkridge. You're not getting a new contract next year. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. How are we losing this 1-0? How are we losing this 1-0? I don't really want to change anything because we're creating opportunities. We're just not very clinical, everyone. We've got a chance here, though. Duxbury whips in. Burrow heads just wide. Oh, this match really does sum up this season. One phenomenal goal scored against us. It finishes 1-0. I hope that still classifies as a mid-table finish where we've ended up finishing. I don't think the prize money difference between all the different positions is too great, so that's one silver lining. We've actually ended up finishing 15th. That's really not that great, considering we were looking at a top half finish, but hopefully the board aren't going to hate me too much for it. Do you hate me, board? Let's just check. Do they hate me? No, we've passed. We've passed. It might have been a C. It might not have been a really good pass, but we've got a C in my eyes. They're actually giving us a B-. Concerned about my lack of support. I mean, is that from the fans or the players? I guess that's from the players, but half the players are going to be gone in a month, so I don't care. Is that harsh? I don't, maybe a little, but it's the truth. And to be honest, I've already been planning ahead. Look at our under-18s. You got the regular players, then I've just got a load of trialists in. I'm already getting to that point where I'm trialling players whose contracts are expiring. There's some pretty good players in here as well. It's a bit of a shotgun approach I'm taking. One of the players I've signed is this guy. If anyone knows a guy called Joseph Rabbits, please let me know. He's 18 years old. He's never played for another club. But I'm really confused because, like, he definitely... Well, if you're going to be in Football Manager, you must have played for someone, right? Like, I'm not crazy here, but apparently he has no playing history. So if you know the mystery of Joseph Rabbits, if you know who he is, it looks like a fake name, doesn't it? Let me know. Could he be a good left back? He actually could be not a bad little backup. Unfortunately, he is still... Who's he contracted to? Aldershot. Oh, okay, I've solved the mystery. I'm a detective, everyone. I'm a detective and we've got all these people on trial. Where's the jury? I guess the jury's my scouts. But yeah, I'm looking at a few different positions, a few different players. I'm going to be honest, all the players that I've kind of scatterfired, offered trials to so far, not really wowed by. But a lot of clubs of the kind of more senior players, they rejected my advances. In fact, you can see here what I've been looking for. Looking for players with contract status expiring in 3 months, age at most 18, wage at most £500. There's a list of quite good players here. There's some pretty, good players in this list. Unfortunately, a load of them have turned down my offer of a trial, but we'll keep persisting. If at first you don't succeed, simp, then simp again. And eventually, if you simp enough with free agents, they will decide to change their mind and join your club. At least that's what I'm hoping. So, with that all said and done, what is the plan for this coming season? Well, the first thing to do is all of these people, I think, and there may be exceptions here, just demote them. Just to the under-18s. This is the team that we've got for this year. This is the squad that I have thus far. So we've got Burrow up front to build around. I think he's a good little striker. He's proved to be reliable at this level. In previous years, he's got lots of goals for York, who incidentally did win the league this year. Have to question whether or not he's regretting his decision to leave the club. Out on the right, we've got Fraser Preston. You guys know my thoughts on Fraser. He's great on paper. On the pitch, he's absolutely useless. You might as well have a scrunched up bit of paper on the pitch. Sam York, the boy, bow to him. He is wanted by Harrogate. Is it Harrogate? It is Harrogate. I've told them 60 million. Now, whether or not they'll bid 60 million, I suppose it remains to be seen. But slightly concerning, these attracting League 1, or not League 1, League 2 interest so early on. He looks absolutely phenomenal. He is the man to build around, isn't he? Still only one strength, though. And then at the back, we've got a few options here. We've got Duxbury, we've got Gibbons, of course, as well. I feel like they are two players who are good enough for this level. They offer enough to justify keeping them on. And of course, if we just, you can actually, here you can see all the players that turned me down with the trials. So, yeah, I'm sad about them. But if we look at the ins and the actual players who are joining us, we've got a keeper in Dermot Mee. Very excited about him. We've got a defence of sorts. Now, whether or not these are all the defenders I'm going to sign, obviously, 3 more defenders added to our ranks probably doesn't quite make a squad. I mean, the biggest challenge I think this coming year is going to be assembling a group of players and getting them to gel quickly. Pre-season's going to be so important, as is the recruitment. At the moment, we've got players who are good, but they're on just far too much money. And because they're on so much money, it's compromising other areas of the squad. Right now, we are spending almost £1,000 over the wage budget. Now, next season's wage budget is really, really good, actually. It's close to £9,000. And with all the players leaving us, I'm hoping it's going to leave me a lot of flexibility because as I showed last episode, there are some great players, who we've had this year who are very, very good. The likes of Tootle, for example, the right back. But ultimately, he's unhappy at the club. He doesn't want to renew. We looked at players like Paul Green. Again, he just wanted silly money. He doesn't want to. I think these players may all be upset I've demoted them now. So maybe I've ruined any chance to bring them back. But I pretty much went through all these players, particularly the better ones. Of course, the loanees are kind of an exception. They just all want silly money that I can't justify spending. And it's kind of a case of let's go back to the drawing board and build a better rounded squad. Because the team that I inherited, didn't really have any leaders in it. The players who were here massively overpaid, knowing that they've got a short-term contract, that is inevitably going to impact their performances because they're not motivated to play for the club. And I think when you look across the players we've got here, they're all pretty good. And a fair few of them have actually chipped in and played a lot of football this year, particularly Duxbury. He's the kind of quality of player I think we're striving towards. If we could get a team of Scots, well, I would have invented cloning, but that would be fantastic because he is just a super well-rounded player. Because there's so few players that I'm immediately penciling down as being in the first team, there's so much flexibility with what we're doing. I mean, we could easily switch to a 4-4-2, like we have the options, because we've not really got a squad. I'm really excited for this summer because I think it's really giving me a chance to form a team exactly as I want it. Of course, the club's kind of nearer term goals, they want a top half finish next year. Actually, I'm confused because end of current season they want Vanarama North mid-table, but next season they want Vanarama National top half. I was misreading that as Vanarama National North. Who wants to tell them that we're not getting promoted? I guess the other thing really to address is play more attacking. I guess they've not been a fan of us sitting deep this year. I mean, we can play more attacking if they wish, but with the players we had in the squad this year, it just didn't really feel like a smart thing to do. This season, we never really got any consistency. We never had a goal scorer other than Burrow who we could depend upon, and you can't really depend on one striker all season. It's just never ever going to work. I would say we turned a corner this year. I think that would be a fair assessment. I'd be interested to see the exact stats before and after I joined. I mean, when I joined the club, right, there were 3 wins, right? 3 wins in 18, and we ended the season on 12 wins. So it wasn't the most incredible of records. I can't even try and claim that. But ultimately, we did improve. We did change things a little bit. And of course, for me, and I'm still studying away on my Continental C licence, going into next year, it's a big one. And it's a pretty blooming exciting one, and I hope you guys are excited for it too. Just before I jet off on my summer holiday, worth taking a look at what's going on elsewhere in England. As I mentioned previously, with this series, we are going to be looking to move between teams, and with that in mind, I think it's good to just keep an eye on how the rest of the English football pyramid is going. Now, there may be some shocks here or some massively major things that I've not noticed, so if you do spot any real oddities, teams on the collapse, let me know. But looking at the Vanarama National League, here are how things are looking. Of course, only 23 teams in the league this year due to Macclesfield folding. Bromley getting promoted. Elsewhere in League 2, if we just take a quick peek at things, Newport County won the playoff final. Leyton Orient and Cheltenham, the teams going down. Forest Green, Colchester, Walsall and Newport going up. Into League 1 now, if we take a peek. I assume that Hull are going up. I say that. I was kind of saying that because I want Cumwenda to be in the championship. Henry, I wonder if we can sign him. Can we Cumwenda? I did scout him earlier. He has renewed his contract. Well, that's annoying. Who wants him? Rotherham. Get out of here, Rotherham. He's our boy. But yes, unfortunately, Henry's Hull have not gone up. Peterborough have been crowned champions. And so how have I forgotten to mention this? We have Peterborough as an affiliate, everyone. That was something we managed to sort out a few months ago now. I mean, it's not been too important this year, and I think that's probably the reason I've forgotten about it, is that, yeah, there are affiliates. They've got promoted to the championship, which is great for us especially, but this year I didn't have any players I could sign on loan from them. All their good players were kind of already out on loan. But hopefully this coming year, that is going to open up a few different opportunities for us. You can see Portsmouth and Fleetwood, the other teams, going up there. Elsewhere, Plymouth, Northampton, Rochdale and Oxford being relegated. Into the championship we now go. Norwich winning the playoff final against Watford is mad. Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth finishing top of the pile. Elsewhere, Sheffield Wednesday, Derby and Wycombe all going down. That's a pretty shock relegation for Derby, dare I say. I know that in real life they're doing really badly, but I don't know. I thought Derby had a good squad. Maybe I'm wrong. Gary Monk is now their manager. Wayne Rooney is not their captain. Rooney? Wayne is playing in Poland. Football manager? Wayne Rooney is playing in the Polish Ekstraklasa. Yep, that flows off the tongue. Not sure what to make of that. I don't think that's happening in real life. But you guys can let me know your thoughts on it. And in the Premier League, who won the league? Who is going down? Newcastle, Sheffield United and Fulham being relegated. United winning the league by 1 point over Man City. The absolute drama there. And in fact, West Brom beat Man City on the last day of the season. To not only, I was going to say, maybe they stayed up with that result there. I guess their safety wasn't secured. So yeah, a win for West Brom over Man City sees United win the table or win the league on the final day of the season. That's a little bit mad to spot. And, well, that's kind of what's going on there. I think that will do everything for today. If you spotted anything, as I said, that I haven't seen, do let me know. With this series, I think initially, we're going to be staying at Boston United for at least the first few years. I'd like to get to the Football League with Boston. One thing that I haven't mentioned before is that the end game with this series is to obviously get to the Premier League, but I want to win the Premier League title with a team who hasn't won a Premier League title in the modern era. So going on from 1993 onwards. That is the end goal. We won't end up at one of the massive teams in England. We will actually have to dethrone them using a somewhat underdog team. And of course, with Brexit as it is in Football Manager this year, that should be a fun little challenge. But anyway, that kind of sums things up today. Often with end of season reviews, I can give you a hyper detailed analyst kind of report of our squad. But because of how short term the squad's been and kind of the fact I've always had this mindset of we are rebuilding this summer, I'm not happy with the players here, there's not too much to dwell on, I feel like. Obviously, Jordan Burrow is the boy. He scored for Boston in real life just this weekend. I'm hoping that he's going to be committed to the club longer term. Financially, by the way, we're absolutely fine. We're as good as good can be, really. For a team at this level financially, no risks there, which is obviously a really, really good plus point. But anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. If you have, make sure to drop a like on it. Let me know how you think I should be approaching this summer transfer window. Who should I be going for? What formation or system should I be playing? Are there any players in the squad we should be building around? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments. And well, until next time, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.